Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Itzalina Josa. I am a Laredo College student as well as a work study in the Office of Student Life. I will be your MC for today. Welcome to our four-part speaker series on financial literacy. Today, we have our third speaker series titled, Keep the Cash Flowing, 10 Steps to Balance the Cash Flow with Ms. Soledad Tanner, who is an outstanding international consultant, award winner, and global financial business consultant with more than 30 years of experience. Now, before we start, I would like to announce that one lucky Laredo College student in attendance has the opportunity to win a full free 1-hour complimentary consultation from our speaker. LC students must sign in the attendance sheet and remain present until the end of the presentation in order to claim their prize. The attendance link will be provided in the chat box. We encourage everybody to participate throughout the whole presentation to have an opportunity to win a prize. And I would also like to encourage you to turn on your cameras and turn off your microphones to make the presentation feel more engaging. And the success of this workshop is of your active participation. With all that said, I will direct your attention to the wonderful Miss Soledad Tanner, and let's give her a warm Palomino welcome. Thank you for coming, Miss Tanner.
Thank you so much. It's truly a pleasure to be here. I think these speaking engagements are wonderful, and I hope all the knowledge that we shared today, it's really useful for you. This is for you. So as I am speaking, please write your questions and let me share the screens as I am saying that, so you get to see the presentation. Give me just a second, right there. And can you see it well? Thumbs up if you can see it. Super. Excellent. And also, before I start, I wanted to say that I am from Ecuador. Soy completamente bilingüe. So if anyone has any questions in Spanish, also I welcome them. So español, inglés, mezclado, lo que ustedes quieran, aquí estoy para ustedes. So I moved to the US 26 years ago to pursue my education. So I'm very proud, and I believe education is really the key of success. So I'm very happy that you're here, giving me your time so you can learn about something so important as your money, financial literacy, your cash flow. Oh my goodness. This is the key of success of so many businesses. I was in global corporate America for 20 years. I retired from that, and 5 years ago, I decided to open my own finance and management consulting firm to help people start their businesses, not only start, but also once they are there, to make their businesses profitable and productive and successful, so they can last for years. These STC Consulting, I hope you can follow me in social media. These are the services that we provide to the community: CFO On-demand, Controller On-demand, financial speaking, financial management, financial coaching and training, and business consulting. So enough about me. So this all will be about you and what you think to do in the future, and maybe even right now you already have a business. So pay close attention, because it's so important that you handle your money and your cash flow, really look at it all the time. Why is that? Let's talk about the reality of the business, the probability. Many people tell me all the time, oh, I want to start a new business. I want to start a new business, which is wonderful. I love that. But let's talk about the numbers. 30% of the businesses fail during the first 2 years of being open. That's a big number. But then 50% by year 5, they're out of business. And then 66 don't make it to year 10. And then only 25% make it after 15 years. That is a big, big number. So we don't want to be part of these statistics. So we want to learn, if we're going to start a business, how we are not part of these numbers. And number, it's important to know how many businesses make it or don't, but more important is to know the reason why they don't make it. So we are not part of here. And here I'm sharing a graph that is given by the SBA, the Small Business Administration. The number one reason when businesses don't make it to year 3 and 5 and etc., it's 82% of them fail due to cash flow problems. What is that? Think about that for a second. 82% of them have some kind of trouble with the cash flow. That's why this hour, we're going to talk about money and the cash flow, which is like water, you know, like the water flowing, and you need the water to keep flowing evenly all the time. It cannot stop flowing. It's the same with money. Here, this is the number one question I get asked every time I walk into a client. What is the difference between cash and profit? Let's talk about this for a second. So what is cash? Well, you will say, well, it's easy. You know, it's a bill. It's money. Well, cash is the amount of money that you have in the bank. Pretty simple statement. But cash represents the liquidity of your business. Let's talk about liquidity. Liquidity comes from liquid, which comes from money that you have, that if I have an emergency right now and I say, would you please give me some money because I have to take somebody to the hospital right now, then we have the money liquid, which means we have the money available, that the money is deposited in the bank, or you have it with you at home, or you have it in a tool that it's easy convertible to cash. So if you have your money in a house and you need to sell it, so you get some money, it will take some time. It will take 3 to 6 months before you sell it and you get your money in the bank. But liquid is money that is available to you to be used today. But then what is profit? Isn't it the same? Well, no. Profit is what is left before, when you have a business, you have revenue on the top, which are the sales to your clients, and then all the cost that comes below, money that you need to pay to produce that product or service. So the profit is the revenue that remains after deducting the direct business expenses. This is important. But this profit, you have sold a product to your clients, but you issue an invoice. What happens if they didn't pay you the day that you provided the service? What happens if they pay you in 30 days? So you have issued you have created the product, you have sold the product or services, you have issued the invoice, you have made some money in theory. Let's just say it costs you $100 and you pay $50, but technically that money, it's not yet in the bank. So profit is the revenue remainder after deducting the business cost, and the money, it may not be in the bank yet. That is the main difference between cash and profits. If you have any questions, you let me know at the end, okay? So following the same concept, a business can be profitable, but still not have adequate cash flow. Let's just stop on that thought for a second. Let's say we sell a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee can be $1 per cup of coffee. And let's say in between sugar, coffee, water, etc., you spend 30 cents. So you have left 70 cents, right? So that business is profitable because you're making 70 cents per every cup of coffee you sell. But if you are selling that and you have a rent that is too much for your business, and all the profit is going to pay the rent and you don't have enough, then you will have a case when your business can be profitable, but you don't have adequate cash flow because you're using too much money, and at the end of the day, your bank account is empty. At the same time, you can have a business that has a good cash flow. It means that you have money in the bank, but you still are not making enough profit. So how is that possible? Let's think about the same example with the cup of coffee. That I can have a loan. Let's say I started the business. The SBA gave me a loan of $50,000. I'm selling the cup of coffees. The cup of coffee is $1, but not all the expenses cost $2 to produce the cup of coffee. So I'm losing $1 every time I sell the cup of coffee because my price is lower than my expenses. So I can still have cash flow because I'm using the cash flow from the loan and my business is not profitable. So I want to make that example so you see the difference between being profitable and having adequate cash flow. So then the question is, how do you calculate cash flow? How do you know if it's right or wrong? So here is a very simple formula that maybe you want to write down. So you, as I'm talking, you think about this. So the cash received from clients that are paying you, in this case, the people that have paid you for the cup of coffee, minus the cash spent. If we continue with the example of the cup of coffee, how much you pay the guy who delivered you the sugar, the water, the coffee, etc. So cash received minus cash spent equal the net cash flow. If our business is only one cup of coffee, it will be cash received $1, cash spent 30 cents, which is the cost. The net cash flow will have been the 70 cents. So that's in general, so you can see how this is calculated. Okay, I promise that's the only formula that I'm going to be giving you. So let's say the same here in a different way. So to make sure that the concept stays. Another way to look at that formula that I just gave you is to think about money in the company, money out the company equals the cash flow. So in bigger companies, how do we get the money coming into the company? Well, we provide a product or service, we bill it. Once the invoice goes out, then the customer paid. So here, money in, you can see that is accounts receivable because it's through our invoicing that the money will come to the company. Money out is the money that we pay to the vendors or people, and normally it's accounts payable. So in this case, will be the vendor that provides us the sugar, the coffee, the water, the honey, the cream, et cetera, et cetera. That will give us the cash flow of your company. So it's very important that as a business owner, and even if you're not a business owner yet, even if you're at this point working and you have your salary coming in and your expenses going out, this also applies to you. So why people get in debt? Why people, suddenly they are in a bad financial situation is because they're spending money out, more money that they are receiving in. So if your salary is $200 and you're spending $500, obviously you will start getting yourself into a hole. Okay. So if you have a business, you need to ask yourself, when are you getting paid by your customers? So let's talk about this for a moment, because this is important. Not all businesses charge immediately, right? Sometimes you go, let's say you buy something in Amazon, you put your credit card and you pay it now because immediately. But you go and get some food at a restaurant, you order your food, at the end of the day, at the end of the dinner, you get the receipt, you pay it right there immediately. So, but there's some other purchases that you can do that you can pay in 30 days. Let's say you have some layaway that you put for Christmas, or you buy furniture and they allow you to pay in multiple parts. So it's important that you know not only when you're paying your vendors, but also when people are it's paying you. Let's say you're working, well, you know that either every other Friday you get paid, or twice a month you get paid, or every day you get paid. So always keep in your mind when is that you're getting paid and when is that you're paying your vendors. So here, I want you to remember what is the key to the success of your business and even your personal success related to money. The key to managing your cash flow, personal or business, is to ensure that the cash that comes in, it comes in faster and bigger than the cash that goes out. Let's talk right now about a personal situation. Some of you maybe are obviously still in college. You may have a part-time job. Your part-time job maybe is 2 days a week, and then you're receiving compensation for that. So let's say, for the sake of the example, that you receive $500 for your work. Well, and let's say it comes every other Friday. But then you have to pay for your, let's say you have a car, you have to pay for the insurance of the car, you have to pay for the gas, you have to pay for the tires, you have to pay for your food. So the number one principle is to ensure that the cash that comes in comes first than the one to go out. So you don't make yourself into a hole and then you have to get your credit card and cover the balance. It's the same scenario in a company. So if I sell, let's have another example. If I sell shoes and the shoes cost $100 and I'm giving my client 30 days to pay, then, but I have to pay for personnel, for the people that work in the company, for the leather that we use to create the shoes, for the rent. So if all the sales of this month that I need the money to pay the rent and the employees will not come until next month, then I will be cash flow negative. I will make myself in a hole. So it's very important, one more time, that when you're handling money, to ensure that the cash that comes in comes faster and bigger than the ones who go out. So a lot of talk here, but I want to give you an example. So now the concept is like forever cemented in your financial concept. So if your business is cash flow positive, you're accumulating cash in the bank. So let's read that again. If your business is cash flow positive, you're accumulating cash in the bank. Well, what does it mean? Right? Great concept, but let me give you an example. Here it goes. So let's say you start the month with $1,000. Okay, you can see it in letters and you can see it in the numbers in the right. Let's say you have a company and you pay $500 for your bills, your rent, your electricity, your internet, etc. But your customers pay you $2,000 for the services. So it's $1,000 that I had at the beginning of the month, minus $500 that I pay for rent and electricity, let's just say, plus $2,000 that the customers paid me for services that I provided. I ended the month how? With $2,500. So 1,000 minus 500 is 500. Plus 2,000 is 2,500. So what is the result of that? Good news. You are cash flow positive because you started the month with 1,000 and you ended the month with 2,500. Got it? So that's good. Thumbs up. That's green, right? Now let's see the opposite case. You can have a business that is cash flow negative. You're in the way that you're starting the month, you're finishing the month with less cash than you started. So how can that be? Let's go with that. So let's say you start the month with 1,000, the same $1,000 of the other example, right? Then you had to pay 1,500. Let's say you had to buy a new computer, a new monitor, so you had to spend more money. And then let's say you invoice your customers 3,000. So in your head, you're good, right? You built more than you spent. But what happened? Your customer is paying you in 60 days. So this month, only you got $200 in the bank because somebody paid you from last month. You are still waiting for the rest of the money to show up in the bank account. So what happens? Bad news. You are cash flow negative for that month, minus 300. So let's go over. We started the month with the same $1,000. You had more expenses than normal, so you paid 1,500. Good news, you had customers, you produced, you invoiced $3,000. But remember, the difference is you could have made the sale, but the cash is not in the bank yet. And in this particular case, the cash is not in the bank yet because they will pay you next month because your customer went on vacation or your customer forgot to pay you or whatever reason, right? Or you gave them additional time to pay you and you only got $200. So at the end of that month, the 31st or the 30th of that month, you look at the bank account and you go, oh, what happened? I am negative 300 for that particular month. Okay? So what questions you need to ask when you're checking your numbers? Number one, and this helps you when you say, well, how do I know? How do I improve my own cash flow? What questions? So maybe you want to write down these questions if they apply to you. So is your cash balance at the end of the month or a year or quarter or week higher or lower than the one in the past? Like the page that we just passed, it was negative 300, so it was lower. But more important than only knowing if it's higher or lower, we need to know what happened. What caused that change? Why is it lower? It's important for you to know the reason because you can adjust it or you can change it. For example, in the example that we just passed, it was because our customer, let's assume, went on vacation and forgot to pay us. So what caused that change? That change was caused by clients on vacation that did not pay on time. So that helps you to figure out what I'm going to do to hurry up and get the money into the bank. I need that money so I can pay the rent or all the employees. At that particular month, when you always have a negative cash flow, is that consistent year over year? I'm going to tell you, depending on each one of your businesses or potential businesses, sometimes Christmas, December, people spend money in all kinds of gifts and parties and things like that, and they don't pay because they are using the money in other things, right? So sometimes December is a negative cash flow month because you have to chase your clients to pay you. It also sometimes is August because it's the month that families, the kids go back to school and parents are busy, buying things for the kids or they're on vacation. And so August tends to be a month that, depending on the industry, you can have a negative cash flow. So as a business owner, if you know that August and December are not good months, you do something in advance or you call your customers or you give them a discount, but you have to watch that you always have enough money in the bank, either for personal or for business, to cover your expenses. Question number 3, what is the average time that it takes your customer to pay your invoices? This is very, very important because let's say you start selling, I don't know, you have a store, a mobile store where you repair telephones and you sell mobile accessories, let's just say, and you're giving your clients, you're billing your clients and you're giving them 30 days to pay you. And you think, okay, in 30 days, they're going to get the money. But you know what happens? We all get busy and we don't pay in 30 days. Suddenly you have to call them and say, hey, you haven't paid me yet. So it's 32 days, it's 35 days, it's 40 days, it's 45 days. So you have to look at from one side, what you told your customer, how long they have to pay you, and what in reality happened. So if you said 30, maybe it took 50 days for them to pay you because, oh, they forgot. And now you have to go through the process of approving the check, and that takes 2 weeks. So ask yourself, if you have a company, how long is for real taking your customers to pay you? And if that is higher than expected, what can you do to bring it forward? What can you do to collect it faster? Maybe you give your client a discount for early payment. Maybe you go and give themselves the ability, provide the ability to pay electronically so they can pay you right now. Maybe you start calling them at day 20 and then say, in 10 days, we need the money by day 30, not after day 30. So there are things that you can do so to make sure the money comes here. Because remember, in order for you to produce the product or the service, you have already paid rent, you have already paid payroll, you have already paid electricity, internet. So all the expenses happened before, and you haven't seen a penny yet until your client pays you. And number 4 is also, what is the average day that takes you to pay your bills with your vendors? So you know how you get the electricity bill and then you have 2 weeks to pay? Some businesses are giving their clients 30 to 45 days to pay them, but they receive the invoice and they right away, the same day, they sign the check and pay it. While you also have 1 or 2 weeks of time to pay that invoice. So it's important that in both sides, you manage you pay your invoice in accordance to the payment terms that you have been given, and you collect the money from your customers in the time frame that you have given them. That is a good way how you can manage your cash flow. So cash flow is like this picture. It's every month you are like trying to balance the money that you're receiving with the money that you are paying. So sometimes you get a great payment and then you paid all the invoices. And sometimes the great payment is going to come in 2 weeks and you still have to pay all these invoices. So you're like balancing act. So I'm going to give you some tips. If you have a business, what can you do to improve your cash flow? Number 1, if you're billing your client, send the invoices immediately. Okay, this is like, if there's one thing of this hour that stays with you, is I have gone into companies when I ask about the billing and they tell me that they only bill the 30th of every month. So I want you to think about this. If you perform, let's say you have an AC company. Let's say you do heat and AC maintenance. And you go to the customer side, and on the second day of the month, you provide the service and you clean the ducts and everything is good. And you said, well, don't worry, my company is going to be sending you an invoice. You pay me from there. So let's say you billed only on the 30th of every month. So the person is going to receive the invoice the first of the following month. And you think that person is going to be running to pay you? It's going to take 2 weeks more before you get paid. So now you just open a gap of like 45 days between service and payment. So the message is send your invoices immediately, because you will have people that will pay you immediately, and then you will always have customers that will take a little longer for them to pay you. Also, number 2, always check the pricing of your products and services. I see customers that they have had the same price for 10 years, and they haven't changed it because they're afraid they're going to lose the customers. And that's not the right approach. You know, your pricing needs to be in accordance to the value that you provide to your services, but also the competition. So let's go back to the idea of the mobile store, where let's say we're selling a cover for our mobile, and everybody else is selling at $50 and you're selling at 25 because that was the price 5 years ago. Or let's talk about food, right? Food is typical. So you go to a place and let's say a shake, a fruit shake. You go to a place and you pay $4.50, and you go to another place and you pay $1.50. Well, the person who is doing $1.50 maybe haven't raised the price in 2, 3, or 4 years. So when you have a product or service, always check what the competition is doing. So you know, even if you're below the competition, you are aware that a product similar to you, it's being purchased in another place, but a different price. Okay. Number 3 is have a bookkeeping system. Still, how can you improve your cash flow? Well, if you have a bookkeeping system, you have an organized way to invoice your customers. You have an organized way to check when they owe you money. You have an organized way to collect the money. But if you are just, putting all the papers in the trunk of your car and you're checking it and everything, it's just not clean and organized, it will be very difficult for you to manage your finances really in a sharp way. Another way to improve your cash flow is to think about the future and create a forecast. So let's say you have a business with a mechanical shop, and you're repairing motorcycles, and you know that the cold month, for example, are months that you don't have as much business as the summertime. When it's really cold, people don't go out as much, I think, in the motorcycle rides because it's too cold. But when the weather starts getting really, really good, so you get more people that may want to have the bike maintenance, and you get more business. So forecast your business in accordance to your cycle. So you say, for example, January may be a low month for my business, but February, March is higher. So now I can hire more people because I'm going to get more money. So it's important to be aware how your cycle moves, so you have your cash flow protected and you don't hire too early. For example, if you know that January is a low month, what would you hire extra help if you are not going to have any product to or many customers to serve, right? So number 5, reduce expenses. Of course, the less that you have to pay, the more money you will have in the bank and the positive cash flow that you will have. Check for discount, check for savings, check your contracts, making sure that you're using all the services in your subscriptions. Evaluate and make sure that your subscriptions are the right one for your current needs. So try to reduce your expenses. Sometimes they are automatic and they are just doing withdrawals from your account, and you're not even reading that magazine, or you're not even reading a newspaper, and you're not even buying from that place anymore. So check your expenses. And if you have a company that has inventory, manage your inventory. Inventory is something that you have bought in advance, that you have a store. Let's say you are a painter and you have inventory of white paint, and sometimes maybe there is a promotion where you buy it at 25% off if you buy, I don't know, 50 gallons of prime. So that inventory, it's money, because you paid it with your hard-earned money. And make sure you protect your inventory. So if there's a rain, the product stays safe. If there's wind, you don't lose your product. Make sure you know how many units you have. Make sure you know about your inventory, please. Also, assets. If you are short on cash, make sure that you review the options of leasing versus buying, right? Maybe you don't need to buy a copy machine. Maybe you just can lease it, and that way you save some money for you in the bank. Increase sales. Always look for value-added proposition to your customers, so you get more sales because people want to buy from you. because your product is awesome, because there's nobody else doing what you do. And people are telling everyone about your great product. And don't forget to promote your products with marketing campaign, even if they're small. Number one, train everyone in your company. Every person in your company, from the receptionist all the way to the warehouse guy, all the way to the driver, all the way to everybody, needs to be aware of what is that you sell. So when a client walks into your place, even if you're not there, they can explain what you sell, and they can also help selling the product. And as I stated earlier, watch your accounts receivable. Watch it. That is the invoices that have not been paid by your clients because they forgot, because they went on vacation, because they don't have the money to pay you. So stay very close to that. Review, if you're giving your clients a credit limit, let's say, I'm going to give you $1,000 that you can buy and then you pay me. Watch that if they're getting closer to that credit limit and you haven't received any payment, there may be a risk happening there. There may be a situation that you need to be aware. Accept electronic payments and credit cards. Sometimes people don't do it because you have to pay 2.5% to 3%, but the cost of you going and collecting and calling and all of that sometimes is higher. And set very clear payment terms. So talk about that all the time. Sometimes you say it once, well, the customer forgets. So every time, if you decided that it's going to be a week, then you say, okay, this is your invoice for the services. Your payment term is a week. I expect the payment by next Monday. So they remember and they go, oh, okay, I will pay you. Let's see. So in order to, we're at the end right now of the tips, but I want you to, if you take one thing of this presentation, so never take your eyes off the cash flow, because it's the lifeblood of your business. The moment you stop looking at your cash flow and one day you wake up, you may have your bank account in zero, and then you're in trouble. So always check your balances. And with that, I would like to finish. Thank you for your attention. Always remember that financial knowledge gives you freedom. So know your numbers. It's great that you have taken 1 hour to stay here with me to learn something new. And if you like what you saw today, and if you are leaving here with a newfound knowledge that you can apply, don't forget to register for the next conference, which we will talk all about profitability, making money, profit, and growth. So what is the roadmap to profit? That will be Thursday, November the 11th at 2 p.m. The link is below in there. So it's www.laredo.edu CMS profit, and it's already open for you to register. And if you have any questions, this is my contact information, and I am in all social medias. You can follow me, you can write me. I will be more than happy, and tell me you came from Laredo College. I will be more than happy to talk to you, listen to you, and answer any questions that you may have. With that, I want to thank you, and stay here with us because you need to be here to win the prizes. So don't go anywhere, and start writing your questions. So while we do the prizes, all the questions are being received. Take advantage of these. I will answer all your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Tanner, for that transition for the raffle. Y'all do remember the raffle, the price of the free 1 hour consultation with Ms. Tanner herself? Yes, we are indeed raffling that, but as well, I would like to remind everyone that only LC students are allowed to participate, as well as the LC students who signed the attendance link are also in the wheel to be spinned. So guess what time it is? So y'all ready to see who gets to win the consultation? So Ms. Barra, can you please lead us to the wheel of fortune?
Should I stop sharing?
Huh? Yes. So we'll be right there with y'all.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead.
What kind of business do you recommend for us, like for someone who is young to start?
Well, you need to, that's a very big question. It depends of what you are good at, you have passion for, and why you want to do it. Give me 3 things that you think you're good at doing, that you enjoy doing it. Or 2. What are you
Okay.
studying?
The health field. I'm going into the health field. Yeah.
And what would you like to do when you finish?
Anything, to be honest, because I feel like I don't want to be in the health field forever. So
Okay.
I want to have a plan for when I finish.
Okay. So what kind of businesses do you like when you go out and you say, wow, that's a wonderful business?
Anything would be fine. I
Like
mean, owning or just investing in anything. What do you recommend investing on?
Well, that's again big word, because if you do you see yourself having a business?
No, not really.
Not really. Would you like more like office, or what is that?
Yeah, that would be cool. Or a boutique.
Okay, so maybe what's your name? So I can, maybe we talk after, so I can help you specifically.
Joanna.
Joanna.
Joanna
So
Solano.
okay, so I think you're ready for the raffle. Let me write your name and then we can talk, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So one more thing before we spin, y'all must be present in order to receive the prize appropriately. So please turn on your cameras and keep the microphones on, so we know that you are indeed in the meeting with us. Thank you.
I have a question, Ms. Tanner.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so out of like the entire presentation, what sort of business were you like mainly talking about? Was it like some sort of service, a restaurant, or just in general works for every single business?
Every single business needs to handle the cash flow. Yeah, I think, yeah, if you can put it in mute. Yeah, thank you. Every single business, from a bank to a taco truck, to a hospital, to a school, because in every business, let's think about, to give me an example of Jonathan, an example of a business.
A restaurant.
Okay, so the restaurant, perfect. You go and eat at the restaurant, you eat 5 people, you pay your bill, credit card, it goes, right? But in order for them to provide that services, they had to pay the rent, the employees, the tables, the food, the suppliers for vegetables, for milk, for et cetera, et cetera. All that happened prior of you showing up at the restaurant and paying, right? They pay for technology, they pay for the system that they pay for the insurance, they pay for the training, they pay for the uniform. So that restaurant, for you to have that, let's say $8 plate, had already invested probably $50,000, and they need to have enough customers buying that. I'm hungry now. That steak. And so they need to manage, because if they have 20 people that they are paying there to serve, and only 5 clients show up, they are wasting manpower that they need to pay, and there is not enough clients. So what is going to happen? All the money that the clients pay for lunch today will disappear just paying expenses. So every single client, every single industry, even a nonprofit organization needs to handle the cash flow.
Talking about nonprofit organizations, how will the cash flow work for an organization that's non-profitable? How does it work?
Nonprofit organizations have to be handled like they are a for-profit organization, meaning if you get a donation, let's just talk about yeah, non-profit organization, a school that teaches or they get a donation, let's say, or they do a fundraising event, they have an event, there's food served, all the money comes in, right? It's deposited exactly as the one for profit. They are deposited in the bank. And then they start paying for supplies, for, let's say they're having a big event to fundraise, right? And the cash flow needs to be managed because spending money is so easy. And what happens if they spend all this money and no money comes in? How do they pay for internet? How do they pay for the domain? How do they continue to exist? So a nonprofit organization needs to also be managed as a for-profit and have enough reserves to continue to operate.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tanner. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. The wheel will now proceed for the raffle of the free 1-hour consultation with the lovely Ms. Tanner. So, Ms. Barra, please take it away. Our lovely winner is Marlene Villanueva. Ms. Villanueva, are you here in the audience right now?
She doesn't appear to be in the presentation.
Oh, the requirement is for her to be present. Yes, for the next person. Congratulations, our winner is Francis Garcia Rodriguez. Are you here in the audience with us today? Oh, she's not? Alrighty, then I guess we'll have to spin again. Alrighty, now our winner is Deborah Paloma Lopez. Are you here with us today?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yay!
Congratulations, Ms. Lopez. You have won the hour consultation.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. So now that we have our winner for a raffle, thank you very much. We will continue with the Q&A. If anyone has questions, you can turn on your microphone so you can put them in the chat box. We are more than welcome to read them for you as well.
Hello, Ms. Tanner. I have a question. What would you think would be the best plan for a business owner to have when a negative cash flow occurs? Like, what can they do, like, be prepared with?
Okay.
So when that happens.
Perfect. So remember that page where I had the 10 things, for example, once you hit the day that you come to the office and you open your bank account and you have a negative, so there are things that you have to do that day to fix that, right? You can call the bank, hire an overdraft line of credit for that, and then link that to the account or transfer some money from another account. So there are things that you have to do that day to cover that. You can also immediately start calling your vendors and see if you can get somebody to pay you today, so you can deposit that money and cover the negative cash flow. That's like emergency, for the day. But in general, because you're managing your cash flow every day, so in your head, I have to pay the rent the 30th. Let's just say the rent is $500. So I know if I have $2,000 in the bank right now, I know out of those $2,500 will be for the rent. So you isolate that. Then that gives me $1,500 left. So then I have to pay, let's just say, the card note. So $300. So you write it down. It's called, you manage your cash flow in such a way that you know that you're not going to be cash flow negative. And if it happens because something happened that you didn't know, there was an automatic withdrawal for your account, then I recommend everybody who has a business to have an contracted overdraft line of credit. So immediately something comes and covers that negative day, and you immediately go into action to get some money back into your account.
Miss Tanner, I have a question.
Mhm.
Is there like more reasons for negative cash flow, or is there just that one that you had explained?
Negative cash flow can be because, many reasons. Let's talk about the restaurant example that I think it was Jonathan, I don't remember, ask. So let's say you have the restaurant and you always have had 10 people helping you, right? Let's just say. But suddenly this week is a holiday and everybody leaves Houston or Laredo and goes on vacation and nobody comes to the restaurant, right? And then you have a payroll to pay because the people were standing in your restaurant ready to serve your clients. And let's say your payroll was $10,000, let's just say. But then the income from the sale of the meals is only $5,000. So what happened in that case? You, as the business owner, should have very quickly adjusted. When you said on Monday, you didn't have enough clients, you should have changed the hours, the schedule of your employees. So maybe some people will go part-time for this week because there's no customers. So because in my mind, I know I have to pay you Friday. And if you're standing there without work, it's my fault that I didn't ask you to take the day off, or I didn't ask you to do something. Friday comes, and now I have a payroll of $10,000. And based on what I see the activity, I'm not going to even get to $5,000 in income for the sales of the food. So payroll and people cost is normally around 60% of the cost of your business. So it's the number one thing that I would say you need to watch. And the second one is if you have a different type of business, let's say you have something that you invoice and people pay you later. So not checking a doctor's office, a hospital, right? Or a little like how do you call those, imaging center where the x-rays are being taken, and you pay your down payment, you pay your copay, but then there is something else that sometimes you have to pay later. So not watching your accounts receivable, ignoring them and leaving it for people in accounting to collect. And I have walked into customers where I have had $50,000, $100,000, $300,000 of uncollected money, and people always thought somebody else was collecting. You as an owner need to ask and need to be involved in every unpaid invoices, because the older the invoice is, the lower the chance you collect it.
Ms. Tanner, I have a question myself. When you were giving us the 10 bullet points in the second to last slide, I think, number 9 says train employees to upsell and cross-sell. Can you explain upsell and cross-sell themselves? I was a bit confused on that part.
So, yes, so upsell, imagine you go to the mall and you want to buy a skirt or pants, because we have men and women in the audience. So you want to buy some pants, some jeans, right? And upsell is selling, you were going to, your budget was, I don't know, $50 for a pair of jeans. I don't really know. And then you go and upsell is like, they show you these great jeans that now have, I don't know, temperature control, and they keep you cool in the Texas heat, but they're 150. But you only were, in your mind, you were only going to spend 50. But the value added of the product was so good. I'm always hot. I'm also in Houston. So if you tell me that the jeans are going to keep me like 5 degrees cooler, I may buy it, right? So that's upsell. You go up in what you wanted. So for example, another way is if you have a bakery and your idea was that you only were going to buy, I don't know, one small cake for I don't know, help me with $30 cake. And you go there and the woman at the counter said, you know what? Yes, those are 30, but these with 50, they come with, I don't know, whatever wonderful thing that they come and you buy up, okay? Cross sell is you were at the same bakery going to buy only the cake, but suddenly you look to the right and they were selling ice cream. So now you thought, oh, I can have, okay, case solved. I will have my guest, I will have the cake, and now I will put, a scoop of ice cream next to it. So I buy the ice cream and the cake. So if somebody walks into, let's say you're the owner of that bakery / ice cream place, and a customer walks, you need to train your employees to say, hey, if a customer comes, if Soledad comes and said, I need a cake, why don't you ask her, is there anything else that you need? We sell candles, we sell cakes, we sell bread, we sell these. And maybe the customer buys of other things that didn't have the plan to buy. You make more money.
Alrighty.
Good afternoon, Ms. Tanner.
Hello, Leonardo, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I have a question, ma'am.
yes.
What would be good habits to have when it comes to having a good cash flow?
Your voice was cut. Ask me again.
To have a good habit when it comes to cash flow.
Oh, I love that. I love your question. Thank you, Leonardo. Because don't wait until you are like in trouble to figure out, oh my God, how do I get myself out of trouble, right? It's better if, what habits what can you do for yourself so you don't find yourself suffering because now on Friday you have to pay something and suddenly you just realize that you will not have the money to pay. Well, that doesn't feel good. And it's also not good for other people that are waiting for your money. So I would say, if it's personal, I used to work with a calendar, one of those pieces of paper that had from 1 to 30. And I will write, if it's a simple and personal and nobody's looking at my expenses, right? I will write, let's say, rent on the 30th. I will write insurance on the 15th. I will have payment of my car on the 20th. So, and I write the amount, right? And then I will not write my paycheck because I don't want anybody to see it, right? But I will, like, in my head think, oh, let's say my paycheck is $500 and the car and the rent is $750. So I have to save some money from the other paycheck so I can have enough money to pay that. So just having a visual of, if it's personally, having a visual of your expenses and being really aware. Now, all of us don't have bills. We all use credit card. And sometimes it's good to also say, okay, you know what? I have $100 to spend in whatever I want this month. And I'm going to put, it will be cash. So I know I don't go over. So you pay everything with your credit card or transfers. But then at the end of the day, whatever is left, you save a part and you put, and this part, this will be for, going out with your friends or, even if it's $50, it's cash. And you're looking at your wallet and you're looking at it. And now you have 30 and you still have one more week, right? So having a visual always helps. And if you have it in your, if you have a company, just kind of the same, having a meeting or sit down and see what your obligations are for the month. And then make sure that if you have exceeded yourself, pick up the phone and call the vendor and say, you know what, this month I'm going to take, 5 more days, but I will pay you. So have that proactive approach to it.
Ms. Tanner, also with good habits, how do you bookkeep correctly? Does it differ from occupation to occupation, or is there a structure to have productive bookkeeping to yourself?
You mean in bookkeeping in general?
Yes. Is it affiliate oriented, like, oh, restaurants bookkeeping is different from a hotel's bookkeeping, or is
Got
it just their structure?
Okay, so bookkeeping, let's go back to the concept. Bookkeeping is the profession that records transactions. So every time you have an invoice, you issue an invoice, there's a paper, and the paper is recorded as sales because you sold a pencil, a pen, and then part of it is recorded, either they pay you or they owe you money. So that's recorded accordingly. And every time you receive an invoice in the mail, in the email, electronically, that is recorded as an expense that needs to be paid. Right? That concept 101 is the same in all businesses, from NASA all the way to the pizzeria. Yeah, it's the same. You have income and you have expenses. And if you have a business, from NASA to the pizzeria, every time there is an invoice, or there is income, or there is a the donor, or a donation, a grant, or you sell through a POS, a point of sales in the restaurant, you swipe the card, you sell ice cream, that needs to be recorded, meaning it's there. I can see at any time how much I have sold during the day, the week, the month, how many clients I have. So that is something that it's done by a bookkeeper, and like QuickBooks is the software in which that resides, right? And the concept that every business has expenses, okay, expenses are all over the place. So you also, every time you pay for the car, the gas, the tires, marketing for the website, for the domain, we're right now in Zoom, I pay for Zoom. So every time Zoom invoice comes through, it's recorded. So that is exactly the same in every business, regardless if it's food, funeral home, mechanical shop, what doesn't matter. What is different in that structure is, and this is probably a little technical, but I would say it, inside an accounting is something called the chart of accounts. So a chart of accounts is a list of names. So if you're in a restaurant, you're going to have expenses for food, expenses for alcohol, expenses for vegetables. But if you're in a funeral home, you're not going to have alcohol, vegetables. You're probably going to have expenses for caskets, expenses for I don't know what, right? So the concept is the same. And if you are, again, if you have an ice cream shop, your expenses will be milk, napkins, cones, water, etc. So the concept is the same. What it changed is the name of the account in which you record, because your needs are different. Any other questions? Come on, take advantage. All questions are good.
I do.
Okay.
Okay, so as a business, go back to the restaurant example. Do you, like you personally, would you recommend a business like goes to the top? So like they try to become some sort of food chain? Or is there like a type of limit that you think would be best, like both financially and like just how you would feel?
So let me make sure I understand the question. So you're saying I'm going to start a business and I want to be successful, correct? And how big should I be to be successful? Is that kind of your question? Or how fast should I get there?
Okay, an example is like there's McDonald's and then there's Paulitas.
Yes.
You don't see a Paulitas in California, but you will see a McDonald's.
Okay.
What would you like? Would you just go all the way to the top and be a food chain, or?
Got it. Okay, understand the questions. I think, okay, this is maybe not the answer that you're looking for, but I'm going to say it. I think it's important each one of us do what makes us happy. Because if you're going to be miserable going into your work every day and dealing with things that you don't like, you will never succeed. So if you ask me to be, doing things related to IT, I literally turn my switch on and off. I don't like IT. I'm not good at it. And I don't care if it's 2 people or 2,000 people, I'm not gonna do it. But you ask me to do something about numbers, I will stay until 3 a.m. until I figure out what it is. And just today, I stayed late making the presentation as beautiful as I could and making it pretty for all of you because I have passion for that. And I can do what I have passion. And I want all of you to do something that makes you happy because work, it's long. You're all around 20, 22, 24, 26, I don't know. And you're going to be working for years until you're like 65, 70. So you better, number one, love what you do. And if you don't get it right the first time, Jonathan, fine. You get it right the second time or the third time or the fourth time. No, it's your journey. You don't compare yourself with anybody else. It's whatever makes you happy. Everybody have their own journey. They get in the bus in a different station and they get off the bus in a different station. Cool. Just mind you. And about the size, it's up to you. I see people that have very small Paulitas restaurants and all their family works there. And the Paulitas restaurant is the place to go. And they have the best tacos al pastor ever. And there's a line waiting outside. That's good. And it provides for the family and they have a good life. And then on Monday, the whole family goes to the rancho and rests and they're happy. But if you want to, like a McDonald's, I wouldn't want to have, I don't think that's a question that you ask yourself at the beginning. I think you look for what you find, what you like, and then you go along the way and you take micro decisions where when you are like, will I like to be bigger? Will I like to have an office in El Paso and in Houston? Okay. And then I think gradual decisions is better. I cannot tell you if the owner of Paulita's Mexican restaurant is happier than Bill Gates. I'm sure Bill Gates, has tons of problems over there. Or and it's not for everyone. I think as you go along, there is no difference of happiness in that or this. Just whatever provides for your family and covers the needs of you and your family, and then excitement about what makes you happy.
Okay, I have another one that's kind of sort of like personal, not really.
Yes.
But okay. So if a business is particularly failing, but a lot of workers are quitting over pay, how would you fix that?
Ask me again.
Okay. So say in a restaurant, it's not failing because it's recently opened, but a lot of workers are deciding to quit because the pay isn't that good. Okay. How would you fix that?
Oh, well, a million ways. First of all, restaurant is brand new. Let's say it's 3 months, right? And then the workers decided to go. Well, you're a manager, you are the business owner. So now we're going to hire more people. There's tons of people looking for work. I know there's tons of people that don't want to work. Okay, I understand. We have a shortage of drivers in the country. We're missing like 300,000 drivers in the whole country. So look for in another place. Go to and there's always somebody who wants to work. Number one, get new people, forget about the other ones. People that succeed, wakes up and go to work and do it well. So they were not right for you. Move on. Second, you need to make sure that your menu in the restaurant is right, meaning bring your friends and family, ask them to support you, meaning that doesn't mean that you're going to give the food for free. Yeah, that means that they come and consume, and maybe you give them the dessert for free so they can give you the feedback, what recipes they like and what they don't like. I will go into marketing. I will say, okay, make a list of all your friends and family. And I said, okay, if you organize your birthday, quinceañera, funeral, whatever in my thing, I will give you 2 bottles of, I don't know, I don't even know, I'm allowed to, probably allowed to say some that, but water, right? I will give you 2 bottles of water, and I will give you the dessert. The dessert is on me. And you know what? If you book your party for 30 people, I put the music. And then I hire my uncle, who is a great singer, and I put them to sing. So it's failure. I started my own business almost 6 years ago. And 3 times I have had no phone calls. When we had Harvey, when we had Ismail, I think the other, and when we had the freeze. Phones stopped. I couldn't even get to my office. Customers, I lost all my customers with the flood. Is that a failure? It's an indication that you just need to go continue the journey. Your journey will not be all like up. Jonathan, it's going to be like this, like a wave. And that's what you need to get ready. 1 month it will be good, the other month it will not be good. But you continue to make decisions and being creative of what else can you do.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tanner. Very informative. I learned a lot. So before we conclude the presentation, I would like to mention that the registration for the next speaker series, when would your business start to make a profit, is already on. The link is already in the chat if you want to register for our next presentation that will be taking place next month on November the 11th. So if you're interested, please sign up, register so you can have the invitation ready. And thank you, Ms. Tanner. Thank you for the very informative speech as always. And we're always happy to have you around here, ma'am.